What's up? All right, guys. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. What's up? We got Carlton Way in the chat. So yeah, you know, a little bit of I guess upward momentum. I think the reason I'm not going to waste your time. The reason why I think this could be maybe the start of a rally is kind of your triple bottom kind of situation, higher lows a little bit. Then this next one, you're getting some. Where is it? Like on your 12 hour, for example, you are getting a little bit more. I'll show you guys. I don't know, we'll do the show you guys the green trade, I guess. Where is it? Yeah, right there. So on the the 12 hour, you're kind of getting some confirmation. 16. It's looking better. That's what I will say. Maybe a little bit of like tiny, micro, very subdued, subtle weakening words of a potential end of the year kind of jump up to what have you 102. I mean, I think the biggest thing that we want to realize here, and your 200 like SMA is always, where is it here, 200 SMA in a lot of different time frames is significant. That 108, I mean, by the time you hit that, it could be could be January. I mean, if it could be 96K even if it's ended January. I would guess 100, 102, maybe 108. I think breaking above 108 still remains like a huge, huge kind of thing. But what's up, Carlton? So yeah, so that's kind of the thing I'm looking at there. And yeah, I mean, similar thing for ETH. I mean, in terms of the trades right now, not going to give you like stop losses and take profits here, but I think that I'm hedged pretty well overall. I am a little bit more optimistic about a potential long. Probably should take profits on this kind of like Bitcoin short right here. I actually should do that. I'm trying to like kind of hedge the bets because you didn't quite hit it, but I think that I gotta like look at everything I'm doing right now, but I may kind of close that out for the kind of the profit there, which could be a good thing, especially I mean, it is a Friday. We'll see what happens, but there could be more of a jump here, and I think we got a lot of this move potentially kind of done for a 3K profit there. So keep that in mind. In addition, when we look at like a few other things here, I mean, your 2 day, I mean, kind of got your VWAP starting to come up. If you look at that in combination with your 3 hour, like nothing too much is happening yet, but you're kind of gravitating there. Let's look at that on Bitcoin actually to see if that's any different. Not too much, a little bit. You look at the daily there, combine that with like the 90-minute, for example, you're kind of coming up. I mean, I would say for the long, for kind of the long case here, something of that nature. I mean, you could eke out a 2 to 1 about, up to 96 or whatever. Something of that nature kind of makes sense in my opinion. So yeah. In addition, I mean, let's see here. Yeah, I think we do have to break, I mean, 108K I think is like what you want to break if you want to have any hope of like making a new all-time high in 2026. Blood Diamond here on ETH versus Bitcoin. I think you could see something like that a little bit over the next month, maybe, especially if we do rally upward, more of a Bitcoin dominant rally, I would guess. But, I think ETH still has a very good shot of staying strong, against Bitcoin for, could be until the end of this decade. If we look at this, kind of chart, I mean, the last time you ended QT, this is kind of, I guess, assuming you really believe in ETH, but, it could be something like this. That would be interesting, because let's say Bitcoin's at 200K, ETH would be at 30K almost, according to this. I mean, is that likely? Maybe that's a little bit too high, but it's not impossible. And now, if we get into a few other scenarios, I mean, a 10x for ETH into the end of this decade. Let's just map this out a little bit. Bear with me. I know this chart is disturbing right now. There's just too much stuff, but we've been bouncing around, so that's what it is. If you were to do that, let's just kind of let's just draw up some trajectories here. This type of trajectory. I mean, let's not count Trump's tariff fiasco or whatever, or this, kind of kind of situation there. I mean, that gets you up to 20. So we would need, yeah, I mean, you would need some major kind of like, betterness, I guess. Things of that nature. It's 40K right there. I mean, some of these power lines, I mean, you're eking out, we're hoping more for like a 20K, but that's, if you can get to 2K, then maybe that's your 10x. So, if you could put 100K, I mean, this is hypothetical. It could be very risky. I mean, for all I know, ETH could be a relic and won't do much against Bitcoin over the next 4 or 5 years. But, 100K in ETH at 2K, maybe you could get $1 million out of that, maybe. And I think that if we can get, previous cycles and all that, if we can get down to, 2K, 1800, those areas, I mean, it could be, I was listening to one of those super cycle guys. He was talking about, I think he mentioned it could, potentially, he was talking about Bitcoin, could go down another like 20, 30%. 30% is that 2K. Let's say that's like kind of your best case scenario. And that's kind of your big place to kind of get in to ETH potentially. Like that starts to look like a better deal, in my opinion. That starts to look like a pretty good deal. 3K, not that good of a deal, but, what's up, Digital Asset DJ? Been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Always appreciate you guys smashing the like button, all that good stuff. I know it was a bit of an apathetic time. Let me give you the secrets that this live stream grind promises for. So, I mean, one secret, you just kind of have to find this would be kind of the main long, like I showed you. This would be the main long, kind of technique that a lot of people may follow here. And then in combination with a potential, when right now I wouldn't be entering a short, probably not. I mean, you could try something, but you want to be kind of hedged, if you're going to enter a short, yeah, I mean, I like to have the 200. Maybe I should just permanently keep the 200 MA on, moving average on. If we were to go like this, and then, yeah, that's a 2-to-1. I like to do it a 2-to-1 reward risk ratio. Something of both of these trades, probably one of them would win if you get my drift, you know what I mean? And all you need is, you could be easily profitable with just one of these winning. I would be more inclined to think the long position would win here, but we shall see. I think for a new trader, you might want to just stick with trading the same instrument or just trading Bitcoin and ETH. Trading altcoins has been a complete fiasco, I think, especially the Binance fiasco and all that. So to keep that in mind. What would we look at end of year? I mean, it doesn't look, short term looks okay. Short term looks like you may come back up. I don't know if you're going to make a new high here. I mean, new all-time high for the triple Qs, but you could come up a little bit more into the end of this year, maybe 630. There's also going to be a little bit of a tax season sell-off too that we're already kind of starting to see, or we've already seen a little bit, so keep that in mind. But I don't think, if I had to really guess here, I don't think you're going to make a new all-time high above, let's say a decisive new all-time high above like 640 for a while, so yeah. Well, Digital Asset DJ, I've talked about, this is a good point. That's a good thing to talk about here because, super cycle people think we're going up to 200K by the end of like next year. I think so it'd be around this spiral line, or maybe some of these low ones, let's say end of next year. Yeah, it'd be around here, people have said 250, 300, let's say around here. I don't really mind getting back in at like 115. If we can get up to 115, it's looking good, come January or whatever. I'm still going to get like almost 100% or whatever on the way back up there. I don't mind getting back in at those areas. That's my 2 cents. You look at this 200 daily moving average, which is, it's kind of similar to like the 3-day EMAs and Market Cipher A, but like, it's generally every time it goes below it, it's a pretty good time to get in, except for when you go into a damn bear market, like there, and I mean, you did retest, you came down farther. Let's go back a little bit farther in this one. I mean, you lost it. I mean, it took longer to lose it here. There's more volatility there. It came back up, and then you lost it. I think that 10K was like the good place to kind of get out of Bitcoin there, like in March of 18. And that's interesting too. Let's actually compare this. So let's say the peak was between end of February to early March. So it's like, let's say just end of February, make it simple. And then this one was like end of March. So you're following the pattern here, right, guys? End of February, end of March, it would be end of April, would be, I mean, it more extended in this case, could be different though. I guess over time you get less volatility, but that would bring us out if it's end of April, freaking, yeah, that's a while, yeah. 96K then maybe come down. Then yeah, I don't know. Anyway, um, I don't even know if that's like the best thing to really be looking at or caring about right now. I would argue this 3-day yellow X is not a good situation to be in, just compared to previous cycles. I mean, if you were to, if you, I guess if you were to compare it to, I probably want to compare it more to here, maybe. I don't know, maybe in terms of a time length situation, because I do think you're going to see a, that's June. That's it could be where you bottom out. I mean, that could be if you're looking at this in terms of time, this could be useful. This would be May. I would somewhere between May and October, I think. You know what I mean? Um, mm, bring liquidity back into markets. Yeah, maybe sell liquidity. I don't know. That's not always. I mean, it does slow down a little bit, but you still, it's not just Wall Street. I mean, there's China, there's Japan that people like to talk about. I mean, there's plenty of other places in the world where, where the only places open on Christmas in the U.S. Was it movie theaters and Chinese restaurants? I mean, it's usually Indian restaurants, probably. Yeah. Solana's getting that jump 150, 160, those kind of areas. So yeah. Um, mm, yeah. I mean, okay, we didn't really talk about too much on the targets for ETH, but I mean, Bitcoin up to 102. I mean, 37, somewhere between 35 to 37, I think is relatively inevitable for this at some point, you know. Let's actually just, there you go. Do the 200 SMA here. Which probably isn't as, yeah, I mean, it's somewhat to 108K. I mean, okay, yeah, let's actually, yeah, you got a blood diamond in ETH versus Bitcoin, so let's be more conservative with this. 3,500. When do you hit that? I mean, you may not, yeah, it could be only 3,300. I mean, if it's more elongated bear, if it's more on the bear side. I think we're in a bear market in terms of being under this area. Yeah, I mean, depends how you define a bear market. I mean, but in being in under the 200, daily moving average, yes, yeah, we're in a bear market. You haven't showed much strength since October 6th. You haven't shown much strength since there. We're probably in a bear market, guys. Unfortunately. Um, yeah. I would think you would get back into a bull market, holding 110 to 115 pretty decisively, which I don't think will happen, If we kind of do, yeah, I mean, let's do a little bit of, you know, just where would this end up, previous, kind of here, these areas. And then I would think like if we go into your 200 SMA, which is, yeah, where does this lead to? Like, when would you hit your 200 SMA? And I think that's kind of, very likely that you would hit it at some point, 55, 60K. I think 60 to 40K is the big area. I think that 60K is where things become more attractive. I think 40K is like a really good, deal. You know what I mean? I think 40K is a steal, 60K is like decent, good, 50K is pretty good. I mean, kind of that big pocket. I mean, when does the last bull turn bearish? And it depends. No one knows, obviously, but 40K, 50K, maybe even 60K, kind of those areas. I mean, I think when you have people, giving up the case of 200K by the end of next year, that's probably where it is. I think obviously the, versus S&P 500 is big too. Down 60% against S&P 500, I think is a pretty good deal. That's what I would say here. If we look at, versus gold, which gold is, I think, making new all-time highs today or something. Tesla's almost there. I think this is, I mean, some people are talking about 600. I think it may reject from 500. It doesn't look the most attractive thing to me at the moment, but maybe I'm being too pessimistic. It doesn't look bad in the 2-week. But that 3-week bear div, I think, will bring you down significantly. Things like to go back to peaks, so I'd guess maybe This thing has a lot of volatility. Get the Tim Walls curse on this, but I mean 30 to 40% I would guess in 2026. But we'll see. Never bet against Elon. If we look at gold itself, I just want to see, yeah, you're almost making new all-time highs here. This could be a top, and it could come down with everything else, into 2026, which would not surprise me whatsoever. More of the question is, how much does Bitcoin, what's a good deal for Bitcoin against gold? When do you convert your gold to Bitcoin? I mean, previous cycles, weekly, I mean, you're a little late if you're waiting for the weekly to go into the brights, and well, not that late, but you get what I mean. There are better places to get in. I would think not this 2 week green dot, probably the next one coming between April to, or May to October. That would be the place to get into it. And then you're talking about right there, that big jump up, that jump up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was the bottom there. That was the bottom there. This one was a little bit different. I mean, some people probably will argue it's going to be that bottom. When this goes into the red, you're a little late, but not the worst place. Yeah, I mean, what's up, UFOs rule? Bitcoin drops so far. Yeah. Where will XRP fall to? Hard to say. We can look at XRP in a second. Market Sunday, hard to say, man. I don't know. Maybe slightly more bullish. Maybe not much will happen. I mean, yeah, tight range on weekends definitely possible. I mean, that's pretty objective. Anything could happen though, but yeah. Oh, what's up, Sean? Yeah, I recognize the profile, but you've been around for so long. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. But yeah, I would assume that, something with a 6 in front of it becomes a pretty good deal on the gold valuation just based on previous cycles. So, yeah, you're not that far off. I mean, you're down 50% against gold. I mean, buying at 87 in the grand scheme of things, if you're looking 5 years from now, I mean, you're probably at least double your money, I would think. I mean, I would say absolute worst case scenario, probably by end of decade would be 150. But I think you could get up to 2 or 300, I don't know if you'd get much above 300. That'd be kind of crazy, but who knows? I mean, it really depends here. I mean, the concern I have a little bit here is you only made a slight new all-time high against gold. So, I mean, let's say that this is your bottom, which is better this time. And let's say that, into a couple more years here, I mean, it takes its time. I mean, odds are it may not be as, it could be more like this, but less. I mean, if we're comparing it to, that one, well, yeah, here was, yeah, I mean, from that, yeah. In terms of time, this would be an earlier peak. Yeah, that's October, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a slight new all-time high. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, you could still increase the holdings quite a bit there by 100% or whatever. So keep that in mind. Sub 80K for Bitcoin. It could. Yeah, that would be 79. Then you could jump. I don't know. I think that's pretty inevitable. You hit a lot of these 200 weekly moving averages. I mean, you didn't hit the 2 week one ever. I wonder if that'll be the first time. Where would you hit that? I'm curious. You might get there because if you go down to 45K, you would hit that. I don't know if you're going that low. I mean, it would definitely depend. But I think there's, I don't think Trump's going to be able to stop every bad thing from happening. I think the Dems are going to do what they can to really take over the House, definitely. I mean, the Republicans will probably keep the Senate, hopefully. But, then you got AOC. She's leading in the polls, so populism continues, and that's not something that should be too surprising. So yeah, I can't believe you can bet on this. Yeah. I forget even who most of the David Koch. That's an interesting name there. If Obama's in there, that would be interesting. Diddy. Yeah, that's where it gets. Jimmy Kimmel. Imagine if he's in there. That'd be funny. Wait, I want to. Can you like do that in the? That's interesting. Hmm. Let's see here. Yeah, Kevin Hassett. People think. The hell's this? Yeah, I don't. Yeah. By the way, guys, if you're interested in making some of these glorious trades, check out BloFin. They just ended this promo. There's still a deposit promo. You still get 20% cash back. We'll get you a new promo soon. 20% cash back on your fees for life. Only with my link down below. In addition, with BYDFI, here's a good one. Ends December 30th. I think this is probably the best one to use at the moment. Good deposit bonus. Says 10K to get 1K. So there's a lot of good stuff there. Check it out if you're interested. TapBit pretty good as well. Deposit bonus 150 to get 100. Register, get 50. So check it out if you guys are interested. Good deposit bonuses. 20% off your fees for life with all these exchanges. If you deposit at least $150 on any of them, make sure you open a support ticket with your URD or your email. We'll get you sorted. We'll give you one free month and all the Empire VIP Discord. We got KMAC. We got Nightshade. Excuse me. We got KMAC in there. Nightshade's really good. KMAC's really good. We got a lot of good people. A lot of good, analyses in there. This potentially jumping up, some of these areas. So yeah, I mean, I kind of would. Let's look at that total 3 versus Bitcoin. I mean, I don't think you're gonna go all the way back down to this wick. Let's compare this to this is a good chart to look at right now, actually, because look, right here, last time they ended QT, went down a little bit, which if we do jump up in January, probably would be more, more Bitcoin. Or I don't think you're gonna go all the way to that wick, but maybe close to it, and then you'll, hopefully see a pretty extended rally. Believe it or not, for, other than. Yeah, I mean, it did go lower there, but, generally you may see, more of into, some of these years. Could be something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah. I wanted to look at couple evaluations. Well, that was gold versus Bitcoin. We kind of looked at that. We could look at, what I wanted to look at, and I think there's a little bit of strength brewing here. SPY versus Triple Q, and I don't know what'll happen, but you're seeing a little bit of relief for SPY versus Triple Q, and you had a lot of relief in 22, a little bit, obviously in 2018. I'm looking at bear market years here, so that was 2012. I mean, I would assume you could see a little bit. I mean, it generally just bleeds against the Triple Q, but maybe a little bit of relief in the bear market year. It doesn't look too bad there. Other thing too, I was looking at, Berkshire Hathaway, which I think can do better this coming year, 2026, than it has in the past, at least on its SPY evaluation or Triple Q evaluation. So outperformed it since 2020. So there's that. And then probably looks even better against S&P 500. So little jumps here. I mean, obviously, when you're half bonds, I already have it here. Excuse me. When you're half bonds, and you're gonna do, when markets go down, you're gonna do better generally. Nasdaq up a little bit today. And then so that was that. Let's look at crypto funding rates. Fear and greed would tell us you're due for a little bit of a relief. I think rule of thumb on this is when you go into extreme fear and you don't really get relief, that's where you're in a bear market. You're in a bull market when you go into extreme fear and you get relief right there. So we'll see. Something like that is the view on fear and greed. Funding rates for perpetual stuffs. Yeah, slightly bearish on ETH. I mean, I think we're due for a little bit of, relief. That's what I will say. I would remain a little bit more bullish, hopefully jumping up to some of the big points that I've been looking at in ETH and Bitcoin as well. So just keep that in mind. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are you guys thinking? There's a few that I've been, I think that, it all depends on your risk reward ratio, but something that I would have decent conviction on for more of a, long term, and who knows how low this can go, but I do think Palantir probably will, nothing's going to go up forever. So I would argue that that's going to go down at some point here. I don't know if it's going to go down to $70, but, we shall see. So yeah. What's up, Jay Sherlock? Appreciate you, man. What do you guys been trading? Let's look at Zcash. That's been topical. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of right. You could recover into January or whatever. I probably wouldn't take that trade right now. Yeah. And then probably, I don't know here. I'm just curious if anything would, probably this won't tell us anything because this thing's so volatile, but yeah. I mean, I think you would go back to this point at some point, that daily 200. If you're looking to try to short that. Yeah, it's only a 101 though. And I mean, this could easily rally back to 600 or something. A lot of people are talking about it, but yeah. I don't know if it's the best time to short this, but you will get an opportunity there most likely. Let's see. So that was Zcash. Let's see what's been moving actually. If we look at, let's look at CoinGecko a little bit here. CoinGecko. NFTs, yeah, let's talk about that a second. They've been getting destroyed. I think this is all-time lows for a lot of these. So basically dead as far as in my humble opinion, I guess, basically kind of dead. Because your market cap is what it was, even lower than what it was back here. So, I mean, unfortunately, this hasn't shown, Oh, that's weird. Yeah, because price is low. I don't know. 2,000 a pop is not good. That's what I will say. I don't know. Do you guys have any hope on this? I mean, Trump speaking, probably not about crypto. 2K. So yeah. Curious about. Yeah. Speaking of that, let's look at his coin, his meme coin. I don't think that. I mean, that was obviously. Yeah. Just keeps going down. I mean, that's kind of 0.5 at this point. The Melania, too. I mean, that's just scam city. A little bit of relief, 200 daily. Yeah, maybe get back up to 18 cents or something. 18 cents. They priced this high, yeah. I mean, even if you got it over here, you'd be down 90%, yeah. Thinking here, what else do I want to kind of look at? Thinking here. Well, let's see what's been moving. So if we look at Midnight, I've heard of this. Yeah, Monero. Monero, I think, is getting towards its end. Rain. I mean, that sounds like a meme coin, probably. Tron, let's look at that. Has not been topical. And Tron, I mean, that's some of the best technology. Yeah, that's come down. Where was that? Yeah, August. Okay, so lagging, I'll say that. Yeah, below. Yeah. I would be curious. Where's the 200 weekly on this? 14 to 12. Yeah. That would be, well, it's like a previous bear markets. I mean, that was 75, which was pretty good. And then that would be 67. Yeah, maybe something like that. 15 cents. I don't know. That history would tell you that, but we shall see. QRL. I feel like I've heard of that, man. Let's look at that. Is it this? Wait, is it a crypto or oh, this? Okay. I could be completely wrong, but at face value, this seems like a scam to me, but hopefully I'm just being ignorant and missing something. It's going up. All right. Yeah, it's hard to say. Too new. If it follows that trajectory, it'll keep going up, but who knows? Wait. You bought this in 2019? It was around back then? It looks new, bro. Coin. I mean, I'm trying to. Is this? No, it's something different, right? Q. Nice QR. I think I've heard of it, man. It's just not. It's not traded nowhere unless it's, yeah. I mean, oh, okay. It's got to be still a small cap. Yeah, it's coming up. Okay, cool. I don't know. I'll look into it. Sure. I mean, there's a lot of them, but yeah. It's sometimes I wish I had more time to really. Ethereum. This one went to 0. I think. Yeah. That looks like a damn rug pull there. That was recent. Yeah. All good. Yeah, it's dead. It's dead in a half. How about I'm kind of glad no one talks about this one anymore. Well, it's yeah, still you can still trade it or whatever, still buy it. Yeah, Hex. Hmm. Thinking here, thinking. Hmm. Trade, it's a hodl. It's not a trade, it's a hodl. Yeah, yeah. Still building. That's good. Trying to think. All right, let's look at some others that have, not been falling off a cliff, I guess. And what's done good in the last 24 hours? Oh, okay. Yeah, Zcash. That's not a surprise. Not too much. PayPay. Oh, I know somebody, unfortunately, who kind of got railed on this. Um, mm, yeah, that drop there. I think it's, yeah, I think you got to wait for the next new cool meme coin. I mean, it would be interesting, it would be kind of ironic if the meme coins don't, which I'm kind of feeling, I mean, this is how it'll happen. The meme coins just won't be relevant that much going forward, because of the fatigue with it. But, because of QT ending, you would think there would be more meme coins, but maybe not. So Doge is at February 24 levels. Not terrible, I guess, for a meme coin, but not too much going on, obviously. Mm. No, I know you're not chilling, bro. Sean, come on. I love you, man. I love you. No, I believe it's good. I'm sure it's, there's so many cool. I mean, it's just not the way, like, you know, it's just not really my thing, but definitely could do well. I'm hitting the wrong thing. What's up, Awesome Mystic? It's like a file coin. That I think is kind of is dead, right? Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, I would be looking at, so the thing here, and let me show you guys some examples of what that looks pretty dead to me. But I want things to outperform, but doing something like this, outperforming Bitcoin for the next 4 to 6 months for a coin to be kind of attractive for me to buy, hoping it will do go well over the next few years. I want things to outperform Bitcoin. That's really what we need. This does not look like it would outperform Bitcoin, at least not in the next couple months, but we'll see. We'll definitely have to see. Monero, I didn't look at Monero. Yeah, let's look at it. It's been topical. I don't know. My fear with this is you're just going to make a lower high or whatever, reject from this area. But if it could keep going, if things correct, I mean, maybe you can make a new all-time high. I don't know. I think it does make sense to have maybe some exposure in privacy coins, you know? Yeah, I mean, if you're up 20x, that's pretty good, man. Kind of too. I mean, I wonder, like, I mean, if you put in like 10 grand or 5 grand into something and you're up, I mean, that's probably a lot to put in for most people, obviously, especially a small cap. But I mean, if you put in 10 grand up 20x, I mean, what is that? 200 grand? Not too shabby. Even if you put 1,000, I mean, 20 grand, yeah. I mean, that's what, 1/4 of a Bitcoin right now, less than 1/4. That's the thing too. I mean, what's the chance of like? Because I think like, when did Bitcoin get to the point where it was very unaffordable? I mean, obviously here pretty damn unaffordable, but you had kind of your peak. 20K is nothing too insane to get in. That's where most people, a lot of people could have been full coiners. I think this time you're hoping for like your freaking 45 or 50. I mean, that's for a lot of people, I would guess. So, yeah. I think having a full Bitcoin, at all times, depending, I mean, obviously it depends on your situation and all that, but it could be a flex. Could be a good situation. I mean, if you can get up to 300K by the end of this decade, so, it's only a 3x from here, but still, it's a significant amount. Um, I wanted to look at, I mean, I always look at like housing futures, and I mean, I think this could have actually topped out for a while. This could have been I don't think it's going to crash. I think it'll be kind of sideways boring for some years. Like, I mean, I think your kind of line in the sand, I would think would be, let me just draw this here, because I would guess overall, after all is said and done, maybe early 2030s or whatever, yeah, 15% down. But factoring inflation, add another 3% to that over 5 years, that's another 15%. So it's 30%, which would make very good sense in if you're looking at some situation like this, which is kind of what I would guess, something like that. So coming back like 10 years, it's every 20 years, 2032 is, your kind of golden spot to get into real estate. So yeah. If you're going to sell, I don't know. Maybe 27, 28, you'd see some relief, maybe a higher high. I don't know. I do think I think real estate will slowly bleed down, very slowly bleed down, like interest rates will very slowly bleed down. This has been sideways since October of 23. I mean, it's been 2 years of nothing. And it wouldn't surprise me if you see another 2, 3 years of generally nothing. But I think, your mortgage interest rates, like 30-year mortgage rate, can go down to like hopefully something with a 5 in front of it by the end of next year, excuse me. I mean, you're at low 6s now, which is still kind of high for most people, obviously, but 575 by the end of next year, I think is a reasonable goal. Mid 5s, that's what I would kind of think. So yeah, you put 13 in. Oh my God, and you're not gonna sell, bro? Wow, that's conviction. I mean, I don't, in that situation, I have no idea. You know more about it than me. I mean, I don't know if you sold 80K and bought one Bitcoin. If you sold, I mean, let's just see like 200K. If you had 200K to play around with, even if you were pretty conservative with crypto and S&P 500 other investments, I mean, I could see you getting like a double that within the next few years, and that's a conservative like investor trader. You know what I mean? Well, conservative to people like us. Maybe not conservative Warren Buffett, but that'd be the point there. I mean, if you had, let's say you just converted 80K then to Bitcoin, and let's say it stayed sideways. Like, let's say you had 120 in this, and it's still the same price in a few years, and Bitcoin's at 300K. That's 400K. So that's doubling. And then you could even do stuff with S&P 500. I mean, let's just look at the most like conservative thing in the world here. S&P 500, and that could, Bitcoin could bleed another like 30-40% against that. I think it will. So that's, I mean, get in there, you just doubled your, or let's actually look at the opposite here. It gets confusing a little bit. Come on. So it's up there. 50%. I think you can do this again, I mean, 50%, that's not a full, like, yeah, 50 well, I mean, if you had half a Bitcoin, if you had like, let's say you had 40K in S&P 500, you wait till Bitcoin goes down to, let's say S&P 500 generally stays flat, I guess. It probably will go down too, but say Bitcoin goes down to like 50K, then you could get much more. You almost get a full Bitcoin. That's that point, I would say, I think. Just my suspicion, just my, my 2 cents here, 2 Satoshis. So yeah, I mean, there's this right there. Oh, I want to look at silver. Yeah, silver is a good one to look at. That's an interesting one too, because let's look at, you're probably going to get up to 74 or whatever here, 73, I would guess. you're practically there. I mean, this is like something you could try to chase up to 73 and just, I don't know. I mean, it's going to come down, and nothing goes up forever. This is going to come down at some point. And if I had to guess here, you'll probably do something of this nature. Well, not, I mean, I'm on too high of a time frame. Hold on. Let's go on our like 3-day, I guess. I don't know, like you're going to get, maybe early next year, end of this year, and then down to 48. And then, more elongated, much more elongated, I would think, let me see here. So if you're at 67, let me do some more TA on this. This is an important one to do TA on. Yeah, okay, that's 180. Probably there. I wouldn't even count pandemic really. 167. I would say you got a good shot. If you can get into this at like 50, you got a good shot. I mean, it's gonna take you time, But oh yeah, this was the main trajectory. You got a good shot at like 160, 7 by mid, 2030s. That's kind of the main thing there, I would guess, which is really good. I mean, you'll probably do pretty well. I mean, I want to look at it against I mean, this is like, it's probably going to do, like, I would guess here, like, I mean, probably everyone's FOMOing into it. And I think it will, these rare bullish signs, I think will play out. But, I think that you come down a little bit and then you're sideways for a year or two, a couple of years. And then here you go, what I mean? There's your, into mid 2030s, then more sideways, something of that nature. I don't know if you're going to get back to this high, but you got some potential. I mean, how much? 300%. I mean, that would make sense. That would make sense against the NASDAQ. I think silver, I mean, it depends on your risk tolerance. I think gold, well, let's look at gold versus silver. This is where it gets more interesting. Let's look at just gold versus silver here, because it's like, which one should you buy? I mean, right now, I would probably, this is working. Yeah, I mean, let's see, upper 60, yeah. And that was a 20-year period, but then he had a weird, I mean, I don't know. 70, I would go like 70%, gold, 30% silver, 80% gold, 20% silver. So yeah, that sucks, John. But yeah, yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, I bought Bitcoin at 200. I mean, that doesn't mean, that means I could either be, worth hundreds of millions, or I could have sold it at 1,000, who knows, or could have sold at 180 and lost money. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but, most people, I think, who were in that long ago did pretty well, right? I mean, I'm sure you wish you bought more back then and kept more. Anyway, guys, I kind of got to get going. So let me just shill some stuff to you and then I'll get going. So if you guys want to trade, TapBit's pretty good. Let me show you the best exchanges right now. I think that the best deal is the BYDFI one for deposit bonus. This ends in about 10 days. Deposit 20K, get 2,000. Deposit 10K, get 1,000. We're going to give you a new one with BloFin in a few days, but you still get 20% off your cash back. There still is bonuses. These expired like a day ago or 3 days ago. I'll talk to them and get you a new one. TapBit's got you 150 for 100, and then these good deposit bonuses there. Check them out if you guys are interested. 20% off your fees for life on all of these. Make sure you open a support ticket in the Discord if you deposit at least $150 on any of them. We'll give you a free month in there. See you guys soon in the Discord. We appreciate you guys. Lost a stack of Bitcoin. Damn, that sucks, man. But yeah, really appreciate you guys. Shout out to Sean. Shows rule.